till spring, summer, winter, or fall. Step number 3 then, you then isolate. Is that the only thing holding you back this evening? Step 4, you then have them commit to it. If I could show you, would you? If I could prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that listing your house at 6% is actually in your best interest versus 5. If I could show you that beyond a shadow of a doubt, would you go ahead and list with me tonight? If I could prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that Marc Leder and Coldwell Banker, Seacoast Realty will offer more services than any other company in the city, if I can prove that to you, that more services will mean more buyers will mean more money. If I can prove that to you beyond a shadow of a doubt, would you at least consider going ahead and listing with me tonight? Then step 5, you then handle it using an objection handling technique. And then step 6, you close on it. And beside the word close, I want you to circle that word. I want you to put dollar signs beside that word. Every time you hear that word from this day forward, I want you to think of chick-ching. Chick-ching. Let's try it. Close. Right. And for the young bucks in the room that don't know what chick-ching is, that's the old sound of a cash register. That's when they used to make a noise when they opened up. Am I right or wrong? That was like pre-CDs. About the LP time. Which an LP is just a much bigger CD. Yeah, so anyhow. Okay, so we close on it. Now, I want to start plugging in specific techniques at step 5. So let's work on this one first. Let's say they say to you that they want to find one before they list. Now, by the way, this is going to be one of your most prominent objections coming up, if it's not already starting to rear its ugly head. How do I know that? Look at me. 29 years I've been doing this. Don't ask me to plant a garden. Don't ask me to build a house. You with me? But if you want to learn how to make more what? In real estate, less what? I've done it. You with me? So this here is going to come up in the cycle because why? Well, what's going to happen is you're going to have an inventory shortage coming up, if you haven't already. Am I right or wrong? And the reason you're going to have an inventory shortage is no different than in 81 and in 92 and 93. When the prices drop, until the prices come back up to where people feel they're comfortable, they're going to be not putting them on the market, and your bottom ones are going to get cleaned out, so you're going to have an inventory crisis. Is that starting to sound familiar with this part of the cycle? Does it sound like I've been here before, yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. That's why Tim brought me in, because I can show you exactly what to do. So the key is this: when they say I want to find one before we put it on the market, that's because they're afraid their house is going to sell too quickly, and they're going to be in a have-to-buy situation. Now remember, when it's all said and done, no matter what they tell you, it generally always comes down to what? Money. So let me show you how you handle this. Say, well, let me understand you right. You want to find one before you put your home on the market because you're afraid that your house will sell too quickly and you'll be in a have-to-buy situation. Well, let me ask you this question. What if I said to you that you're not doing it in the wrong way, but you might be doing it in the reverse? And because you're doing it in the reverse, it could be costing you 10, 15, 20, maybe as much as $25,000. By the way, is that a lot of money to you? It is. Everybody, I can't hear you. Okay. Well, would you like to give that money away, or should you keep it in your pocket? Because if you're going to throw 25, you can throw some my way. No, well, 25, absolutely it is. Well, let me say this to you. What if I could show you how I could actually save you that $25,000? We'll get your house sold. You never have to be in a have-to-buy situation. In fact, we'll make sure you never lose that. If I could prove that to you, would you at least consider going ahead with it? Yeah. Well, first let me show you why putting your home on the market or finding one before you put your home on the market could cost you money. You see, Mr. and Mrs., let me show you something. You're not doing it the wrong way. You might be doing it in reverse. Let's assume for a second this is your house, and you're asking you'd like to get $200,000 for it. And you want to move over to Forest Hill, to those 3 bedrooms, or the 3-car garage. Those houses are $250,000, give or take. Now let me ask you this. If I put you in my car tonight, and I drove you over to Forest Hill, and I found you the perfect house, everything you're looking for, are you in a position to buy that house cash tonight? Oh, you're not. So you're going to make them a subject to offer. Is that correct? Is that what? Say yes. So what kind of offer would you make on $250,000 house? Well, Mark, we're taking a little less for ours, so I don't know, we'll offer them $230,000. Say, okay, so just so I understand this right, you want me to get them to take $20,000 less for your house, or off for their house, and take it off the market while you're waiting for theirs to sell. Is that correct? See, I'm good, but I'm not that good. But let me ask you something. Instead of $20,000 less, if I could get them, instead of $230,000, you'd have to pay $240,000, but they'll wait for you to sell your house. It's a perfect house, everything you need. Would you consider paying that extra $10,000? Most people would say what? Right. So possibly, and what we call that $10,000 is what's called a risk premium. In other words, you're paying them an extra $10,000 because there's a good chance if we went in cash, they might have took the $230,000. So you pay $10,000 more for your house. Then all of a sudden, all the logic goes out the window, emotion starts to kick in. And emotionally, we start moving into the new house. You drive little Johnny by and you show him where his new bedroom's going to be. You start planting your garden, decorating. Emotionally, we move in. Then all of a sudden, a couple comes along, they've been to the bank, they're pre-qualified, and all that stuff, and they're willing to pay you $190,000 for your house, not $200,000. But everything else you need to get into the new one, what do you think most people are going to do? They're going to take it. So you paid $10,000 more, you sold for $10,000 less, which means that's a loss of $20,000. Is that a lot of money to you? And if they ever say no to you, then here's how you, if they say, oh, well, $20,000's no big deal, Mark. And I would say this, I'd say, okay, well, then let's just check this out for a second. Just work with me. Combined, what did you make last year? Well, combined, we made $150,000. Okay, great. And after you paid your mortgage, your heat, high heel braces, all those things, how much did you save? What do you mean? How much did you save? Well, we saved $5,000. Okay, so you're telling me that $20,000 is not a lot to you? That you'd have to go out and make $600,000 in income to have $20,000 left? You're not willing to put 4 years of labor into your pocket without doing any work for it? You follow me again? Yes or no? So that's if they want to find one before they list. Let's say, for example, that's called the buyer's best interest technique. Let's say they have a friend in the business. And by the way, I don't know what the statistics are here, but in California, before the housing bubble, I think 2 out of every 6 people had a real estate license. But anyhow, I can teach you half a dozen different ways to handle this one, but for today's session, here's what I want to say to you is this, is just tell them that when they have a friend in the business, you understand why they want to list with their friend, but exactly the reason why they want to list with their friend is why they don't want to. Because they're your friend and you're going to be sharing personal financial details. Also, 1 out of 1,000, I mean, no one bats 1,000. And what that means is that if a deal's going to screw up, it's probably going to screw up when you're helping out your what? More often than not, friends want you to do it for less what also. So why don't you just say this, say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs., most successful business today are happy with a 10% return at the end of the year. And that's after they work a whole year. What I'm willing to do is give your friend 20%. They don't have to spend any money. In fact, they can work as your consultant to make sure I'm doing my job correctly. All of a sudden, they get paid $1,200 for doing nothing. The friendship should be in good what? Shape. All right? There's other techniques, but that's the easiest one. The third one is interviewing 3 realtors. As the market heats up, and as USA Today starts blowing smoke out there in the marketplace,